There are jokes in the world of Bluey that you didn't understand. Some of them are so heavy that only adults paid attention. But are you ready to discover the secret jokes in the universe of this little pup? Look out. Do you remember the episode about Frisky's wedding? When Bluey's aunt ran away because she didn't want to get married anymore? That day, Chili almost said something very heavy in front of the kids. Mrs. Healer finds out that her best friend is hiding at the city lookout, and Bluey asks her mom how she knows exactly that Frisky is in that place. It's at this moment that Chili says that when she was younger, she liked to go there with Frisky to think, but that's a lie, and at the same time, a very adult joke. In reality, teenagers and young adults who are single like to visit city lookouts to make out and share alcoholic drinks, meaning that what Chili almost told Bluey and the other girls is that when she was younger, one of the things she liked doing the most was getting drunk and maybe kissing a few guys she met before Bandit. You didn't even notice that detail, right? Of course, it's a joke because only older viewers caught that moment. And if you want to see more scenes like this, get comfy and come with us because another Cinewave is about to start. Drunk moms. In the episode A Festa dos Tocos, two very heavy and adult jokes happen, and we're going to show them now because both moments happen in the same story and for the same reason. The fact that Chili and Trixie are drunk. That day, both Mrs. Healers asked Bandit and Stripe to pull out some tree stumps stuck in the yard of Bluey's house. Up to that point, no problem, but then they decide to drink a few alcoholic drinks, something two adult women are allowed to do. The first adult joke happens right at the beginning. The family's neighbor, Lucky's dad, says that during the job, the Mrs. Healers will be able to watch sweaty men working, and Chili, who is already drunk, agrees and even lets out an excited cheer. This is an adult joke about how some women like watching men doing jobs that require physical strength. The second joke happens when Bandit asks Chili for help because Bluey and the girls don't want to get off one of the stumps. At that moment, Chili tells her husband not to interrupt. The funny part is that Mrs. Healer is already so drunk that she doesn't even remember she was the one who asked Bandit to pull the stumps out of the ground in the first place. This episode was really funny. Hangover. And if you think the jokes involving alcoholic drinks are already over, think again. In the episode Observação da Baleia, Chili and Bandit appear in the middle of the living room, and both of them are completely exhausted. That episode takes place on January 1st, because it's mentioned that the night before, there was a New Year's Eve party at Uncle Stripe's house. The adult joke in this episode is that Bingo tells her parents that Muffin saw the two of them dancing on top of the dining table, but they don't seem to remember that, and as we already explained, they are very tired from everything that happened. That means the Healer couple is hungover, which, for those who don't know, is a mix of sleepiness and headaches caused by alcoholic drinks. So here's a tip: don't drink. Dating. The next joke is actually a pretty sneaky trick by Mia and Captain. When the two of them are next to Bluey and Mackenzie, Mia makes up that she had a perfect little boat for the boys to use, but that piece of tree bark she found wasn't very good at floating. But where does the joke start? It's simple. The two older dogs pretend they don't hear their younger friends and leave to do something far away from them. Of course, Bluey and Mackenzie get upset about being abandoned, and Calypso helps them understand what's going on. But the funny part is that Mia and Captain did something older people do all the time. They make up a reason to stay away from kids because they want some time alone together. But calm down, Captain and Mia are still too young to date, but apparently they've already learned an old trick. Would you like to see Bluey's friends dating in the next season? Comment the hashtag Bluey so we can get to know you. Married. And if you think what we said about Mia and Captain has nothing to do with real life, watch the episode A Fuga, when Bandit and Chili did the exact same thing. In season 2, Mr. and Mrs. Healer take their daughters to the grandparents' house, and when Bluey asks if they're going to stay there with them for the day, Chili answers no, because the parents want some time just for themselves. Only adults noticed what was really happening there. Being a couple and having romantic moments can be difficult when you have kids, right, Bandit? Wrong thing. Here's a joke that happens in the episode Sheepdog that for sure all adults noticed, and we're talking about a very heavy joke. When Bandit is pretending to be a messy sheep to stop his daughters from going after Chili, Mr. Healer starts causing trouble with the neighbor, the Chow Chow Wendy. But since the neighbor didn't like the joke, she decides to call Chili. That's when Bandit runs away and slaps the butt of little Judo's mom. Even Bingo realizes that this went way beyond the limit because of something very adult. Let's just say that hitting people is never good, especially when it's on a very intimate part of the body, and that's exactly what Bandit did. Did you notice that detail? It was a very adult joke. Trixie. Speaking of very intimate things, do you remember the episode Chamada de Video, when Muffin decided to make a mess at home just because she didn't want to share the phone with her sister? When Stripe runs after his daughter, Muffin needs to escape fast, and in one of the scenes, we see her running into the bathroom while her mom is using the toilet. That, besides being a very adult joke, is a pretty gross moment, don't you think? It's not nice when someone interrupts you when it's bathroom time, or when they ask what you were doing in there, right, Mr. Healer? Question. If you don't know what we're talking about, we're going to explain it now. In the episode Restaurante Chique, Bluey and Bingo decide to play restaurant and set up a dinner for their parents. In this case, Bandit would have to take his wife out for a romantic dinner, and when they arrive there, Chili feels the urge to go to the bathroom. When she comes back, the adult joke happens. Bandit asks if she had fun during the time she spent in the bathroom, and because of that, Chili gets irritated. That's not the kind of question you ask someone, not even your wife. It's an adult joke because going to the bathroom is an intimate moment, and other people don't need to know what you're doing in there. That joke was pretty heavy, Bandit.
Don't forget, subscribing is the easiest way to make sure you never miss any of our videos.
Pregnancy. There is an episode that isn't talked about very much, but it has a very adult joke in the story told in episode 34 of season 1, when Bandit is taking his daughters to the dump to throw some things away. But on the way there, Bluey keeps asking her dad questions, and one of them is, "Where was I before I was born?" Which, in this case, everyone knows she was inside her mom's belly, just like all puppies. But Bandit didn't want to answer that question. The truth is that this is an adult joke because older people, at least most of the time, don't answer questions about where puppies came from. That's something everyone will learn at the right time. Horror. A joke that is very heavy and adult in the Bluey universe happens in the episode Baba Em Dobro, when the healer pups are put to bed by Frisky and the girl's uncle, Bandit's brother. In this episode, we learn that Bluey doesn't like it at all when people other than Chili put her to bed. Up to that point, no one understands why, but at the end of the story, we find out that the protagonist is afraid of what happened when it was Grandma Chris's turn to put her to bed. Bluey got up and discovered that her grandma was watching a scary movie, meaning it was a horror movie that, unfortunately, Bluey ended up seeing a scene from that was very frightening. This is a heavy joke because, since the beginning of the series, Bluey has never really liked going to bed early. Like, for example, in the episode Unicourse, when she doesn't want to go to bed. In other words, the protagonist learned that day that getting up at bedtime can be a big deal.
Pretty Wife. In the episode Bob Bilby, there's a scene that's very funny, but most younger fans didn't catch the reason why. When Chili gets the idea to take the girls out to take photos around the city, she opens the garage door and smiles at her husband in a very interesting way. Bandit even goes as far as taking a picture of that moment. The adult joke is that Chili was using her own beauty to get Bandit's attention, as if she were saying, "I know you like me, let's go for a walk." That was a very adult joke, kids. In the episode called Perfeito, we have a conversation between Bandit and the father of that friend of Bluey's, Winnie. During this conversation, there's a very adult joke that we're sure no very young Bluey fan noticed. The two of them are talking about kids, and Bluey is playing at being a boomerang, but the conversation between the two is about having or not having more boomerangs at home, meaning the two friends are talking about having more children with their wives. The original idea of this episode was to show that Bandit and Chili were thinking about having a third child, but that maybe it would be better for Bandit to have a special surgery that would prevent him from having more babies. Going back to the boomerang conversation, Bandit asks what he should do with the boomerang that is Bluey, and then another adult joke happens. Winnie's dad says that if Bandit doesn't want the boomerang, he can throw it away. But wait, wasn't this conversation actually about kids? Wow, that was a pretty heavy joke because it sounds like he was talking about throwing Bluey away. It was heavy, but it was very funny. Ball. In the episode Ilha do Tapete, when Bandit is relaxing in the backyard, a very funny and very adult moment happens when Lucky's dad throws a ball that lands between Bandit's legs and ends up hitting a very sensitive area of his body. It must have hurt, but at the same time, it was a very funny adult joke. Did you notice that detail? There are other jokes like this in the world of Bluey, but we'll leave that for later.
Enjoying it? Then click one of the two videos we left on the screen and keep going with us. See you next time!